Oh,
Close. Look close. Gotta talk.
is that good? All right. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get started. If everyone can have a seat. Was that better? All right. Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. My name is Sarah Kahn. I am proud to serve as the president and CEO of Housing Forward, which is the lead agency for the All Neighbors Coalition, which is 150 organizations that are all working collectively to solve homelessness across both Dallas and Collin counties. And together, we are here to share another major milestone on that journey. And we're going to hear a little bit more from the mayor on that in a moment. But first, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge some of the esteemed guests that are in the room with us today. Everyone has come together to make this possible, and I want to start with some of the elected officials that have joined us. We thank you. We have staff from Congressman Fallon's office, Congressman Allred, Congressman Self,
State Representative Retta Bowers just walked in.
Congressman Elzy, Representative Burris, and Representative Van Dyne. Thank you for joining us. We have staff from all of those offices today. We also have State Representative Bowers with us. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. We also have State Representative Sherman, Senator West, and State Representative Anchia, and State Representative Plessa with us today, staff from all of those offices. So thank you for joining us. I also just want to acknowledge that Commissioner Daniel from the county is with us today. Thank you for joining us, as always, Commissioner. And we also have the Mayor of Addison with us. Thank you, Bruce Arston, for joining us. We appreciate your support. I wanted to also pause and just acknowledge that on the podium today and in the audience, we have a lot of individuals with us that have served our country. And on behalf of the All Neighbors Coalition, I just want to really express our deepest gratitude to all the veterans that are joining us today for your service. Thank you. There are some other important partners that I want to call out who have made it an absolute top priority within their agencies to really ensure that no veteran in our community has to experience homelessness. These are providers that have come together in a veterans leadership task force to hold the community accountable to this goal over the last several years. And we're excited to have many of those agencies that have joined us today. They include the North Texas VA Medical Center, a lot of the service providers that are under that umbrella, the American GI Forum, Endeavors, Volunteers of America, as well as several partners from the Homeless Response System, The Bridge, Austin Street, Dallas Life, Union Gospel Mission, Dallas County Homeless Service Providers, as well as Housing Crisis Center, Metro Care Services, which is in the room today, and Metro Relief. These are agencies that have participated in the Veterans Leadership Task Force to track our progress and to really push us to go further in addressing this issue. So thank you. Just a few weeks ago, Housing Forward joined with many of you at the Wind-Spirit Opera House to really announce that we this year have reached the lowest count of people experiencing homelessness in nearly a decade. And it was very exciting to celebrate that news with many of you. And we accomplished that by transforming our homeless response system, which meant that we, as partners, came together around a shared, unified vision. And we committed to investing in solutions that support people experiencing homelessness to quickly move back home and to be wrapped in the supports that we all need to live stably and to live a life with dignity. And one of the key elements of that transformation was setting our sights on reaching an end to veteran homelessness. We built a very strong and coordinated coordinated homeless response system with our partners at the VA, so that now we are able to really identify any veteran who falls into homelessness and is experiencing housing crisis, and we can quickly support veterans to overcome their homelessness and to move back home. And to share more about the fruits of the work that we've done together, it's really my honor to introduce the 60th Mayor of Dallas, Eric L. Johnson. Mayor.
Well, thank you, Sarah. And I tell you, it is really exciting to see this room so full of folks who are supportive and have been supportive of our efforts to end veterans' homelessness. I'm so thrilled to be a part of today's historic announcement on veterans' homelessness. And I'll share that announcement with you in just a moment. But first, I want to provide you with a little bit of context. This administration has long advocated for our community to take a data-driven and evidence-based approach to solving all sorts of problems, including finding solutions to reduce homelessness in our city. And that was especially true when it came to veterans' homelessness. The men and women who serve our country and who sacrifice so much to keep our country safe deserve to be treated with dignity. And in 2020, just a few weeks before we were hit with the pandemic, we officially launched here at the City of Dallas an effort we called our Veterans Housing Challenge to End Homelessness. My colleague, Chairman Chad West, himself a veteran, has been a leader from day one in this effort, and you're going to hear from him in just a little bit. So now, the pandemic came, and that complicated our efforts, but it did not stop us. It didn't deter us. And since our 2021 homelessness system transformation, we've invested more money in this city, both public and private money, and ensured coordination as a city and as a region, more so than we ever have before in the history of this area to solve homelessness. And with a focus first and foremost on providing housing and critical support services to our veterans who are experiencing homelessness, we've been very successful. That's what we're here to talk about. We couldn't have done it, and we have not done it alone. We do this work in partnership with about 150 agencies that comprise the All Neighbors Coalition that you've heard referenced here before. So as mayor, I get a lot of mail, and a lot of that mail is not very nice. But last week, I got some mail that was quite nice, and it affirms all the work that's been done to eradicate veterans' homelessness by the folks in this room. And it's objectively working what we're doing. And this letter is the evidence and the data that we need to support that. The letter was from a gentleman named Jeff Olivet. He's the executive director of the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness. And the letter reads in pertinent part, the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness, Department of Housing and Urban Development, and Department of Veterans Affairs are pleased to confirm that Dallas City and Dallas County have effectively ended homelessness among veterans. That's a great thing. That does deserve a round of applause. Now, you know, we have cynics in this world, so I'm going to say this right now. This confirmation doesn't mean, I'll tell you what it doesn't mean, because you're going to get asked this question. Doesn't mean that we're never going to see another veteran experiencing homelessness in our city or in our county again. It does not mean that. It means that we now have the systems, the data, and the coordination in Dallas and Collin counties to where any veteran who does fall into homelessness can and will quickly obtain a permanent home within 90 days. That's what it means. That's what the confirmation means. And we have two gentlemen here with us today who are living examples of the effectiveness of what we've been doing. The first gentleman's name is Christopher Varner. Where's Christopher? I want to say thank you for being here with us today, Christopher. And yes, we have, you may know him, he brought us such hits as Roni, every little step, don't be cruel, my prerogative. We have Mr. Bobby Brown here, who is also Mr. Bobby Brown. He looks a little different these days, guys. But no, in all seriousness, both of these gentlemen served our country honorably, and they fell into homelessness in recent years. But thanks to their hard work and thanks to the hard work of the All Neighbors Coalition in partnership with the VA and HUD, both of these gentlemen were provided the housing and the support services they need to get back on their feet. So we are so thankful to you for your service, and we are so grateful for you being here today. Thank you so much, Mr. Varner and Mr. Bobby Brown. And with that, it is now my pleasure to introduce the Principal Senior Advisor to the U.S. Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Meg Cabot.
Hello. Thank you, Mayor Johnson, for the kind introduction, and much more importantly, for your leadership in achieving this historic milestone for the veterans of Dallas. Thank you and your team for never wavering. Thank you also to the veterans and the families of veterans that we have in the room, and also in the entire city here. And thank you to Housing Forward, the All Neighbors Coalition, my colleagues at USICH, HUD, and most definitely my colleagues at VA. On behalf of the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, the Honorable Dennis McDonough, I am thrilled to be here to join in the celebration of the effective end of veteran homelessness. Today, Dallas joins 83 other states and communities across the United States who have effectively ended veteran homelessness. We know from our efforts in those communities that our work here is not done. In fact, it's far from done. While this exciting milestone is significant and serves as a beacon of hope for cities across the country, especially as homelessness rises in many of those communities, this milestone must also be a moment for us to reconfirm our commitment to end veteran homelessness once and for all. We got here today through partnership and collaboration, and by focusing on the tenets of the evidence-based Housing First approach, which prioritizes getting veterans into housing and then assisting them by wrapping services around them as they move to permanent housing. This approach works because it honors veterans' choices by not determining who is, quote, housing ready or demanding that they engage in treatment prior to housing. We must double down here in Dallas and across the country to ensure that we identify all the veterans in our communities experiencing homelessness, provide immediate shelter to any veteran who wants it, provide service-intensive transitional housing for a short period of time, and assist veterans in swiftly moving into permanent housing. We must also ensure that we maintain the resources, plans, and system capacity for the future. In other words, we can't rest. We must remain vigilant. VA does not do this alone, and the success here in Dallas is proof of that. Solving veteran homelessness takes all of us, not just those of us here at the podium or those of us in the room, but all of us. So I have some asks for you. If you are a veteran who is homeless or at imminent risk of homelessness, call the National Call Center for Homeless Veterans at 877-424-3838. That's staffed 24/7. If you're a landlord or a housing provider with housing units, rent to veterans participating in VA homeless programs. If you're a business owner, hire homeless and formerly homeless veterans. For more information on these kinds of things, please visit www.va.gov/homeless. And to everyone, please keep that call center number, 877-424-3838, in your phones, and use it if you come across veterans needing assistance. Here in Dallas, during this fiscal year, VA has placed 532 veterans in permanent housing. It's probably more than that, but that's the last number I was given. with 97 with 97% of those veterans remaining housed to date, and that's really the challenge. And we've also engaged more than 650 unsheltered veterans. Across the United States, VA's goal is to place 41,000 veterans in permanent housing this year. Ensure that 95% of those veterans placed in that housing do not slip back into homelessness, and engage with at least 40,000 unsheltered veterans. And we're on track to do just that. These are big goals to address a big problem. Secretary McDonough reminds me frequently that the words homeless and veteran should not exist together. I am, committed to ending homelessness among veterans because it's our nation's duty to ensure all veterans have a place to call home. You fought for us, we'll fight for you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Meg. We were actually catching up before the program just to say, Secretary McDonough has led some very innovative policy and practice improvements that we're all benefiting from here at the local level. So we're so glad that you could join us from DC today, Meg. Thank you. So next, I want to shift gears to our local VA medical center that has also been a critical partner, and we're going to bring Jason Cave from the North Texas Medical Center to the podium. Hey, Jason. And I just want to say, Jason, our systems have the challenge, there's a suite of support that's available through the VA and a suite of supports that are available through the housing response system. And our challenge is to make that assistance accessible and the pathway to receiving support as streamlined as possible. And I think Jason has been instrumental in really helping us transform what coordination and partnership looks like at the local level. So thanks, Jason.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I have 45 minutes, is that right?
Yeah.
Just want to say thank you so much to everyone. It takes a community, it takes a collaboration. Things as important as ending veterans' homelessness, we can't do it alone. And as proud as I am, and we all are, of the folks who've served Veterans Affairs for more than 10 years working toward this goal. I have folks who have made this their mission for so long. I'm humbled and honored to even be serving the same organization as them when you look at a milestone like this. But as proud as we are of all of that, we are very cognizant of the fact we could not do this alone. It takes the community collaboration, it takes the partnership to get meaningful progress and sustain that progress. So first, I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you, to your organizations, and for coming together to get as far as we've gotten. So thank you first off. Let's see. I get the question a lot, is what does VA do for homeless veterans? What does VA do? There are so many programs. I would need 45 minutes to scratch the surface of them, but just in a nutshell, just so that everybody knows, there is a wide range that goes from everything from emergency housing for someone who might be in an urgent, imminent situation, all the way to permanent, long-term, stable housing that we do through our colleagues and partners at Housing and Urban Development and through our community partners as well. So everything across that gamut, in addition to vocational rehab, when somebody is dealing with a cycle of addiction, they're dealing with a cycle of being out on the street and back, we want to break that once and for all. Once you're housed, we want you in programs. We want veterans to have options. It is key that when the programs finish, you have other things you can do other than going to the same neighborhoods, the same people, the same environment that led you to the path that led you to the street, right? So we also work together with our Veterans Benefits Administration folks so that veterans who are in VA programs have access to the benefits they earned. So just wonderful partnership and collaboration there. And so the number I have for veterans who have used our Housing and Urban Development Veteran Assistive Supportive Housing, HUD-VASH vouchers, it's 1,491 across North Texas. That's staggering. That's amazing. I always think about those kinds of numbers and think about the lives that have been impacted. But in addition to that, there's 100 who are in the pipeline and close to that permanent housing goal now. And all those numbers are interesting and they mean a lot, but when I asked our staff for what should I share, they shared a story. I'm going to try to share it briefly here. If I get through it without being choked up, it'll be a success, but we had a veteran that our program took care of who had been on and off of the streets for 30 years in that cycle of addiction, in that cycle of substance abuse, unable to maintain permanent income, permanent employment, and had burned bridges with everyone that he ever knew in his life, family members, children, etc. So got connected into the program, Housing First, was able to go into that model, and then through related programs broke the cycle of addiction, got sustainable income, and repaired those relationships with family members, with children, etc., completely turned that around. Now, bittersweet twist. The veteran did pass away from a terminal illness about 4 years after that fact, but when he did so at home, surrounded by his family, with his children at the bedside. That's what it's all about. Right? Thank you. That is the dignity and that is the respect that those who fought for our freedoms deserve. So we want to make sure that happens for every veteran that's out there. And everybody took the words out of my mouth, so I won't hit this part too. Our work is not done. Apparently, we were synced up on our thought process there. We just need to sustain, and we need to make sure there's somebody today who might be out on the street tomorrow that we don't know about, that's not on our radar. Get folks connected with resources, get folks connected with services. They're out there, and just thank you again to everyone who made this happen. I'm very proud to be here, and yeah, thank you again.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate you. Well, next I have the pleasure of introducing our HUD regional administrator, Candace Venezuela. Candace is one of our biggest champions, and this year we've been really pushing the envelope on how to best use HUD funding to break through barriers to housing, particularly for veterans, and so we're just really excited to be able to share this celebration with you, Candace.
Sarah, thank you so much. It is always a pleasure. So I am here my name is Candace Valenzuela. I'm here on behalf of Acting Secretary Todman. I represent her in the Southwest region, comprised of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, New Mexico, 118 tribal territories, and of course the beautiful and great state of Texas. And before I am all that or any of that, I am a proud resident of Dallas, even prouder today. And I'm raising my two boys in Carrollton Farmers Branch ISD. So I have to tell you that there's just so much that I am honored to be a part of today. So I just want to say to Mayor Johnson and the city of Dallas, to the Veterans Affairs, to the Veterans Integrated Service Network, to Housing Forward, the All Neighbors Coalition, and all of the caregivers and veterans and their families today, thank you. You're here because you achieved something that is monumental and one of our nation's most important tasks, ensuring those that put their lives on the line for us have access to safe, decent housing with the wraparound services that they need. I am so thrilled to say that Texas, from 2009, has brought down the rate of unhoused veterans by 63%. But I'm beyond thrilled about what has happened here today. And for those of you who know me well, you know that this is a core issue for me. Women are twice as likely to be homeless if they are veterans. And that was a situation that my mother found herself in after serving in the Army. We ended up fleeing a domestic violence situation and lived in a kiddie pool outside of a Texaco in El Paso. But a HUD voucher and our months-long stay prior to that in a Salvation Army shelter is what helped us get our feet under us and helped us to be able to move forward and get opportunity. So you all understand that I know what happens when good people who are thinking of folks they'll never meet and good governance come together. And that is all y'all in this room. I'm so thankful for some of you up front here for your good governance and your investment in the community and knowing that this is a priority. The Biden-Harris administration has also made ending homelessness a top priority, and we're doing our darndest to make sure that we are serving our veterans. HUD, the VA, and USACH's mission has been to end veteran homelessness by helping veterans and their families obtain safe, permanent, sustainable housing with high-quality health care and supportive services. So in 2022, HUD awarded $25.4 million to housing authorities to provide assistance for veterans that need housing. We also gave $10 million to tribal HUD VASH programs to ensure that Native Americans have that access as well. This year, HUD has awarded $14 million in HUD Veteran Affairs Supportive Housing, or HUD VASH vouchers. And we are part of efforts across the country to make sure that also includes encouraging the building of new homes so that there is housing for the folks that need it most. And since then, since 2020, we've been able to lower veteran homelessness by 11%. But we still have so much work to do. And you all are the example that we need to follow. We know that the work done here is not just about reaction, but it's about prevention. It's about seeing folks that are in crisis and knowing how to help them to get to the service that they need, or if just briefly they do encounter homelessness, having the foresight to be able to get them right there so that it is a brief and rare experience. So again, I want to thank you all, especially Dallas Housing Forward, the All Neighbors Coalition, and all of the veteran support staff that have made it here today. Thank you for functionally ending veteran homelessness in Dallas. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Candace. We appreciate you. Next, it is an honor to introduce someone who has walked alongside us every step of the way in our journey to end homelessness. Commissioner Daniel, if you could come up to the podium. Commissioner Daniel, as you know, is a #1 supporter, and we would absolutely not be where we are today without the county's investment in our homeless rehousing system and really believing in us. So we appreciate you, and we're looking forward to just the next phase of our partnership together.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, first of all, to veterans, because I know we talk a lot about it, but it has made an immense difference, obviously, in what we call life in the United States. So I do want to say thank you to that piece of our society and what it adds to the lives of all of us. So thank you very, very much for that. Would also like to say, too, that the VA is the only agency that does provide the vouchers to veterans. What we also know is that it's a system, and that you can't just throw somebody into an apartment and say that they're housed and that it will be a successful experience for everybody, that it takes a lot of other pieces. It requires a system. And I think we became even more aware of this. It's been probably about 10 years ago that we started the Dallas County Housing Work Group. And we brought the variety of people together who are involved in housing, whether it's the developers, the builders, apartment owners, municipalities, the government piece of housing, to have that conversation of what is the situation that we're looking at, and what part do each of us play in this. And that's why I think the emphasis on the system piece of it are some of the things that have been referred to so far this morning. So when I look at Dallas County, obviously, we do not, up until recently, we do not provide housing. But I had to stop a minute there because, in fact, we do have one of those wonderful grants so that we, in fact, are building affordable housing. But then we also want to make sure that there is that reality that it is a system and that all of us provide pieces to it. Because we do the affordable workforce housing projects. We have supportive housing. We have, and then another pieces that we haven't talked about are things like eviction prevention. Because the point of it is a lot easier if you've got somebody already in housing to keep them in housing than it is when they're already on the streets and you've got to then reintroduce so many of the parts of housing and homelessness. There's the 50-50 match with between Dallas County and cities on so many of the supportive actions that are needed to keep people in housing. HAPWA and the housing for the LGBTQ community is something else that is very much a part of where we're headed. But it is with great pride that I can say that the announcements that in the Dallas County area that homelessness has been certified as having ended. I'd like to end with something that many of you may have heard already, if you've ever heard me speak before, and that is I live by 2 rules. Rule number 1 is we do nothing by ourselves. And looking around this room, you can see all the variety of pieces and parts that so many people have played in that statement that homelessness for veterans has been ended. Rule number 2 has already been mentioned, and that is, you know what, folks, we are not done yet. We must continue to be very realistic about what is the world that we live in, what are the needs for people to live successfully in our area, and then what is the part that each one of us plays in that. And I do join everybody else by saying, looking around this room, as you can tell, I'm smiling. It really makes me smile to see all the good people, the big-hearted people, the smart people who are willing to continue in that endeavor to make sure that veterans will have housing within the 90 days. So thank you very much for coming together today for Happy News. We love it. Upward and onward.
Thank you. I'll say the All Neighbors Coalition has adopted both of those rules as well, so we appreciate the reminder, Commissioner. Next, it is a pleasure to introduce Housing Forward's Board Chair, Peter Brodsky. For those of you that know Peter, since he joined our board in 2021, he has made it a personal mission to end homelessness. He stops at nothing to ensure that our system is equipped to be able to do the work that we're doing, particularly to ensure that no veteran has to experience homelessness, and we all benefit from his leadership. So, Peter.
Don't worry, we're 10% through the agenda, so only a couple more hours. Now, there's been a lot said today about all the different agencies, and I'm not gonna repeat what's been said, but I do just want to focus everyone on 2 words, which is collective impact. That is what has made this day possible, and that is what has made our gains possible. It has taken the City Council believing in the program to allocate the funds. It has taken Dallas County believing in the program to allocate the funds. It has taken Austin Street Center and MetroCare and the Bridge and the Stewpot and another 146 agencies who have believed in this program to get together and execute on the program. It has taken the VA, it has taken HUD, and it has taken Housing Forward, led by Sarah, who is the conductor of this symphony to make sure that it stays melodic and not cacophonous. Sometimes it's cacophonous, but not too often. So it's all about coming together, setting a goal, coming up with a strategy, and then everyone executing towards that strategy. And that's what has been happening over the last few years, and that's what has gotten us to today. So I want to thank everyone involved for putting their egos and agendas aside and coming together into one symphony that has accomplished this thing that really every veteran deserves, which is to lead a life of dignity. So thank you, everyone, for that. Now, there is one person that I want to thank even a little bit more than everyone that, and that is Kimberly Bizor Tolbert. Because way back a lifetime ago, or what probably feels like a lifetime ago, when she was the deputy city manager, that was what, like 10 days ago? She is the lifeline. She is the call to make when you need to get something done. I always say she's got a PhD from GSD, and GSD is get stuff done. And that's what she does. So it's my pleasure to introduce Kim with huge thanks for everything you do to marshal the resources of the city to help us get where we need to go.
Well, I would be remiss if I started my comments without having the members of the Dallas City Council to please stand. I want you to know that it's these individuals. These are the individuals. These are my 15 new bosses. And these are the individuals who have actually been the energy behind what we've been able to do, whether it's the financial commitment, it's the support, it's helping us really understand the sense of urgency that we have as a city and how we continue to build a very strong homeless ecosystem. And so I want to personally thank all of you. I thank you for the phone calls at night. I thank you for the photos that you send of encampments. I thank you for just continuing to challenge our staff. And it's because of you that we are better today. Thank you so very much, Peter. He is a great partner, and he is someone who I can call and I can vent with, and he can call and vent with me, and we know it's not gonna go anywhere, but let's just go get it done. And so I thank you so very much for the wonderful partnership that we have and how our teams have come together to work collectively. There's no I, there's no blame game. This is about we, and so I do appreciate that support. And you are right that we need to continue to foster partnerships, both on the public and the private side, to ensure that we continue to head in the right direction and we continue the progress that is currently underway. Please do not mistake the fact that these are complicated challenges. I think we've proven what hard work looks like. And I think we've also proven that when we work together, we can get it done. And that's why I'm excited today. I'm excited when I look in the room and I see so many individuals who have partnered with us. I see our director of the Office of Homeless Solutions. I know that I wear her out, but she was built for this. And I thank the entire department and many of our other city departments for how well they've come together to help build this strong ecosystem. Today, we want to call on and continue to call on our public and our private partners to join us, because it's important for us to continue the work to ensure that our neighbors, no one should have to sleep outside on the street. So, we've been talking about this new initiative, and many of you heard it a few weeks ago, that we really want to accelerate our progress. And we want to make sure that as we continue to do the work at the street level, that we bring all the resources there at the same time to move people into housing. We're excited, and we are committed to staying on course. And we could not have reached today's important milestones and many of the other key initiatives that you're aware of that are currently underway without this Veterans Challenge. It stretched us. I want to personally thank our City Council member, Chad West. I remember hearing about this very early on when I was still complaining about being assigned to the Office of Homeless Solutions. But what I can tell you is that it's been a fulfilling journey, and I want to thank you for that vision. I also want to thank our current chair of the City Council's Housing and Homeless Solutions Committee, Chair Jesse Moreno. Thank you for your support, and thank you for holding us accountable and continuing to keep us focused on this mission. We're proud of the work that we've done around Dallas Real Time, which was one of our first, I think it was a history-making move for this city, to go all in and how we were able to tackle homelessness in our city. I also want to thank partners like the Veterans Affairs Supportive Housing and how you've worked with us to sustain the long-term care that is actually needed once we get people housed. I also want to thank the Veterans Leadership Task Force, which has brought together many community and agency leaders to help us to continue to break down barriers, looking at policies that have created barriers and helping us overcome those. And then I also want to thank the City of Dallas Veterans Affairs Commission that was challenged by this City Council to help support the work that is currently underway. In the 3 years since their formation, their input has proven to be successful. They have been invaluable policy makers, and I would say that they have really helped us move the needle. We have a distinction today, and I'm so honored to be able to say this, that 2 of our city council members are both military veterans. They will both be speaking with you here in just a few minutes, but let me recognize Council Member Jaime Resendez. He represents District 5. Will you please stand? Councilmember Resendez enlisted in the U.S. Army prior to even graduating from high school. He served 8 years in the U.S. Army as an engineer, including a year-long tour of duty in Baghdad. And then Councilmember Chad West, who represents District 1. He was commissioned as an officer in the U.S. Army upon graduation from college. He served at Fort Sam Housing in San Antonio and was later deployed to Hungary and Bosnia. And I know that council member and our chair of our office of the Homeless and Housing Solutions Committee will also be speaking, Jesse Moreno. With that, Council Member Resendez and Council Member Chad West, thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. And I want to first thank the mayor for making this a priority back in 2020. And then for also following through with that by creating the Veterans Affairs Commission, which we have several members here today serving on that. The mayor has made support for our veterans a priority, and he continues to do so. I really also want to double down and thank our colleagues here. There were 7 of us on the Housing and Homelessness Solutions Committee back when we kicked this off. It wasn't just me or any other one person. There were 7 of us, but I was there with my battle buddy, Jaime Resendez, when we got to announce the challenge, and it's great to be right next to him today when we get to announce the end of it. And I also want to thank Chair Jesse Moreno for his strong leadership in this area as well, and for making eradication of homelessness in general a priority of his. One thing I think we should do is, if there's any veterans in the audience, I know there are some in here, could all the veterans please stand? That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge 2 of my mentors in this field, Charlie O'Connell and former Mayor Joe Williams, who are both here in the audience, who do a lot of behind-the-scenes work. A lot of this is, I think Peter mentioned, and Sarah, a lot of this work takes place behind the scenes with the coalition. And there are so many people in this room whose names have not been announced, and we're not going to be able to today, who are doing the work behind the scenes that don't get the recognition they so deserve. And I guess I'll just point this out. Obviously our work is not done until homelessness is ended for everyone, and that's not realistically going to happen in our lifetimes. But our work is not done. But today is a celebration. It's a celebration for the 1.5 million veterans in Texas, and a celebration for the 500,000 veterans in DFW. And so we're going to take a minute, we're going to celebrate with all the veterans, and I'm going to turn it over to my battle buddy, Jaime Resendez, to take it from here.
Thank you so much, Chad. I appreciate your leadership, and thank you for your service as well. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jaime Resendez. Thank you all for being here today. It is a profound honor to stand before you as a city council member and as a war veteran to celebrate this significant milestone. As a veteran, I know firsthand the challenges that come with transitioning back to civilian life. When I return home, I face many obstacles while dealing with the lingering effects of my service. These challenges are not unique to me. They're a shared experience of many of my fellow veterans. After serving our country, too many of us struggle to find a place to call home. It's an issue that goes beyond the lack of a roof over one's head. It encompasses the loss of stability, security, and the ability to build a life after service. This accomplishment is a testament to the relentless efforts and collaboration between various organizations, government agencies, and dedicated individuals who have worked tirelessly to support our veterans. I also want to acknowledge the City of Dallas and my fellow council members for their unwavering commitment to this cause. Your dedication to implementing effective policies and allocating resources to support our veterans has been crucial. This recognition is not just a federal acknowledgement, but a reflection of our collective resolve to ensure that no veteran is left behind. To my fellow veterans, I want to say this: your service and sacrifice are valued and honored. You are not alone, and we're here to support you. Together, we'll continue to build a community where every veteran has the opportunity to live with dignity and security. Thank you to everyone who's been part of this journey. Today is a day of celebration, but also a reminder of the ongoing commitment we must uphold to support those who have served our country. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to bring up our leader of our efforts from the council level on housing and homelessness solutions, our champion for this realm, Jesse Moreno.
Thank you. First, I again want to acknowledge all our veterans who are here with us in this room today, but especially those who are still out on our streets. Today, you see our city council before us. Almost our entire city council and mayor joined us, and that should speak volumes to our commitment to ending homelessness. We all know that homelessness is difficult with so many different subpopulations, therefore requiring different approaches. Again, thank you so much for joining us on this historic day. As chair of the Housing and Homelessness Committee, I want to celebrate today's win while acknowledging the struggles that we still face. We are far from where we need to be, but I know that with collaboration and working together, we'll achieve those by implementing new ideas and new strategies. The reduction of veteran homelessness to functional zero means that any veteran entering homelessness can be expected to be housed within 90 days. Guys, that is a victory to be celebrating today. This progress is worth of being celebrated. And let's thank all our amazing partners that have joined us today. You can see those partners up on the screen, and we could not do it without them. I want to particularly thank Kim and Christine. As noted, they get phone calls around the clock on the weekends, and so we look forward to the continued efforts in prioritizing our downtown area as well. I look forward to our continued progress as a system and to seeing the continued reduction across all homeless subpopulations of our unsheltered residents. Thank you for joining us today.
And to close us out, I'd like to invite Chris Werner to come up, our fellow combat veteran, to say a few words and close out. And then I guess we're going to turn it back over to Sarah or Kim for questions. Chris, please join us. Thank you. Thanks, man. Thanks for your service.
Hi, everyone. How y'all doing? As previously mentioned, my name is Christopher Warner, and I am a combat Army veteran that served in Afghanistan. It's an honor for me to have the opportunity to share my personal experience with the Dallas VA and combat veteran. It was not easy for me to come back and readjust into society as a civilian. I was faced with so many challenges, and one of them was struggling to maintain housing. Some may see this as a level of embarrassment to need help, but I know that I had to seek some assistance because I was spiraling. I was faced with legal issues, limited income, and most importantly, housing issues. I was welcomed into a Hood Vest program and was assigned to my social worker provider, Ms. Jones. Not only did Ms. Jones help me navigate this process, but I didn't feel alone. She helped give me hope and helped change my outlook on life. Oftentimes as a veteran, I sometimes felt misunderstood, but when she disclosed that she was a veteran, it brought me a sense of comfort. Not only have I evolved as a veteran, but I have evolved as a man. I strive each day to make better choices that will positively impact me and my daughter. It feels good to know that I have supportive services from the VA, and I'm proud to be a comeback veteran.
Chris, thank you so much. Telling these stories is so, so important, and we appreciate you being with us today. And, you know, I think it also points to the other heroes in the room, the case managers that you mentioned, and the housing providers, the program directors, the people doing the work day in and day out. It's truly life-saving work, and it's transformative, and we appreciate you all. So I think that's a great end to our presentation, and we're going to open it up to questions from the media, if there are any. Yeah, so effectively ending veteran homelessness, as the mayor described, does not mean that we will never see a veteran who's experiencing homelessness. It means that we now have a coordinated system where the VA and the housing response system are coordinating to be able to identify those veterans and to quickly support them to move back home with the supports that they need. And so this announcement is really important because it holds all of us accountable to continuing to do that. I think we all agree that it is unacceptable to have any veterans on the street, and we need to be able to work together to coordinate and to make sure that that experience is as brief as possible and that we're preventing it wherever possible. So is the announcement today more of an acknowledgement of cooperation versus a milestone? The federal government, the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness, who wasn't able to be with us today, have defined some very specific federal benchmarks that we must meet, which are the outcomes of our homeless response system, and really define what a healthy rehousing system looks like. And so we have gone through a 10-month plus data submission and validation process with the federal government to join just 20% of the communities across the country that have received this designation. And what that means is we have now housed all veterans experiencing chronic and long-term homelessness, and that now when a veteran falls into homelessness, we are showing in our data that we're able to house those veterans in less than 90 days.